What is going on, YouTube? I am Germ here, and hey, it's official. We are in off-season mode now, and there's a ton of people who are starting to drop rumors, starting to drop hints, and already starting to drop some stories too. And there's a lot of people out there, like Wooloo included, and plenty of other people in the esports scene who are saying, hey, this offseason is heating up. Things are about to start coming very, very soon. I would not be shocked if we potentially get some very, very big news sometime this week. But today we do have a big story to talk about coming out of the LEC, at least potentially revolving around G2 and their 80 carry Flakked. But first, a word from today's sponsor, which is Prize Picks. They are back, and thank you so much to them. They've been absolutely insane to work with. Really, really appreciate the people over there. But this is daily fantasy made easy, and the best part is if you get signed up for a new account on Prize Picks, they're going to match your first deposit up to $100. All you had to do is click on the first link in the description below. They got it on the App Store, the Google Play Store. You can go to their website. Big payouts, 24/7 live support, and fast and secure withdrawals. You select player props, esports, traditional sports, League of Legends. They have Worlds. They do ERLs. They do LEC, LCS. They have Valorant. They have like everything. Their selection of games is really, really awesome, and the props are so easy. Like for example, in League of Legends, it'll be like a player, and it'll show their kills, and you just got to pick if they're going to get over or under that amount of kills, and then you can win. Super awesome. Check it out. First link in the description below. Get signed up for Prize Picks. Thank you so much to them for sponsoring this video. With that being said, here we go. The big news coming out today. This was apparently a I don't know, a review of LEC Wooloo's Discord, which I don't exactly know about this. I don't know if he has like a private Discord or secretive Discord. I don't think it's been like public at all. You know, like I follow Wooloo. I don't really know if he posts about it that often or who he allows in there or what. From my understanding, he usually speaks French in that Discord, so I don't know if it's like a big French thing or whatever, but I had some people reaching out to me about it. I've seen some people tweeting about this as well, but Wooloo has been putting out some rumors, or at least some potential stories in his Discord, and some people have said, you know, on Reddit and Twitter and stuff like, hey, I think it says it here, you know, first, if Wooloo put this on his Discord, not Twitter, I assume it's because he's not confident enough in it yet, or maybe it's just not official or done or whatever, because if you remember back in the day, Wooloo used to put all kinds of rumors and speculation and stuff out on Twitter, and now, rightfully so, obviously he's like a big-time journalist, like makes money, it's his career, that type of thing. He doesn't do as much of that anymore, but maybe he's starting to do some of that stuff on Discord again. I'm not really exactly sure, but here somebody kind of reviewed all of the recent stuff he's put out on Discord, and obviously the biggest one here, this was reposted on G2 Esports subreddit, is Flakked potentially out of G2, or I mean, and this is just saying Flakked being out of G2, but again, nothing official, not a done deal. Wooloo hasn't like put out an article or anything about it just yet, but very believable. I think very reasonable, and could be coming true very soon. But we can go over a review of some of these. There's a lot going on in this post, and some of this I think does deserve its own video, but we can at least go over it real quick for all you guys who are here. Apparently, Matthias Leclasse, I don't even know who this is, could possibly join Vitality Academy. Apparently, Haru has some LEC offers. Maybe he's not going to retire. No info on Selfmade, which we've kind of already heard before that Selfmade is kind of struggling to find a spot for 2023. KC is in LEC. KC in LEC conclusion is near. Same thing with Hansama. KC or not, he has to choose a team, and moving to Berlin will take time, so there's no time to waste. Vitality is an option for Hansama, which is interesting, potentially meaning Karzi could be out, obviously. Cannot tell if Alfari is going to be staying with Vitality. Are negotiations for K-Corp in the LEC in their favor? He says, I don't know how to call this emoji in English, and it's like a sad emoji, so it kind of seems like some bad news for K-Corp. That's definitely something we could talk about going forward in the future. And then this big one here, Flakked out of G2. Some of the other ones are LFL tryouts, you know, KC WoW, if KC's in LEC, Skeens, Vitality B, LDLC Milanic. Excel is interested in Yike, I think his name is. Maybe it's Yike, but I believe it's Yike, who's the LDLC jungler, which would mean Marcoon is going to be going somewhere else, and he's going to be a very big free agent. That's a banger. And then Sigenda could potentially be in the LEC, maybe Team Vitality. If Alfari leaves, maybe another team too, who knows. But again, big thing we're talking about today is Flakked, because this is a huge G2 story. Kind of interesting, because we heard last offseason that G2 had a bunch of different options. Apparently, you know, from what Carlos and Thorin and all these guys have said, that G2 had the possibility of getting Viper, and they choose Flakked over him. But we also know, hey, they could have been in on the Hansama sweepstakes. They could have been in on the Carzy sweepstakes. There is definitely some other AD carries they could have got. Maybe they even could have got Comp as well. And I mean, man, that would have been crazy. But they ended up with Flakked, and they won the title in spring. And after they won this title, they're like, oh, see, we were right in getting Flakked and all this stuff. Even though Flakked wasn't that great in spring, he wasn't that great in MSI, he wasn't that great in summer, and then he wasn't that great in Worlds. And yes, this team did win a title and make MSI semifinals, but they also didn't win the title in summer, and then went 1-5 at Worlds, where overall Flakked definitely looked like a weak point. I'm not saying it's Flakked's fault that this team didn't win the title or didn't do well at Worlds or anything like that, but Flakked, I mean, at times played like an LEC level player, but like a mid to lower tier LEC level player, not somebody who's going to be like making a big difference internationally like we assume G2 wants to do. Now, also G2 is going to have new ownership, or not new ownership, but new CEO with Carlos on the way out. So what's the new CEO's direction going to be? How are they going to feel about things? How are things going to be done differently without Carlos there? I don't know exactly for sure. But this is a very, very interesting story, because not only does it mean what does the future have in store for Flakked, which I think is interesting. Flakked does get kicked from G2, which again, I wouldn't be shocked by, because G2 has a strong team. They have a strong roster, and I think Flakked was their weak point. And I don't know if it makes sense for them to run it back with Flakked next year. But where potentially could he end up? Not Mad Lions, not Rogue. Maybe he could end up on Team Heretics, because Heretics has said, oh, no, never mind. Actually, I was going to say he could end up on Heretics, because Heretics wants like Spanish players, but Heretics, apparently, according to Wooloo, is going to be going with Jack Spectre next year. So that's not really possible. He's not going to Excel, probably not going to Fnatic. I think it's possible Upset could leave, but I don't think they would bring in Flakked. He's not going to Vitality, probably not going to SK. He could, I guess, potentially end up at Astralis or Team BDS. I really think BDS at the end of the day might be the most interesting opportunity for Flakked, but it also sucks for Flakked that he is going to be potentially looking for a team if he does get kicked, at the same time that Reckless is going to be available and Hansama is going to be available, and like Flakked's like 21 or 22 or something. It's not like he's like this super, super cracked young guy, and he looked like he had potential this year, for sure. It's not like he's like terrible or garbage or dog shit or something, but I'm not like knocking down the door to get Flakked or anything like that at this point either, especially because ADC is just super, super, super loaded in Europe. And Flakked, the thing is, he looked not great on a really, really good team. So then how is he going to look on a team that's like mid or bad? Usually playing on worse teams makes you look a lot worse. So that's what worries me about Flakked. It's like, yes, he did win a title. Yes, he got semifinals at MSI, but like, could G2 have done that with pretty much any LEC level AD carry? Like, I don't know, maybe, probably, right? I think there's a world where Flakked goes to a not so great team next year and then maybe looks like pretty bad or like pretty replaceable. I don't know. And then as far as who G2 is going to be looking at, that is what's going to be very, very interesting and spicy. I would not be surprised if G2 potentially gets in on the Hansama, kind of train or whatever. Maybe they're going to call up Viper again and be like, hey, man, remember when we talked to you last offseason? Maybe we can get the band back together. It doesn't seem like Reckless is going to be going there just because it seems like he didn't mesh well with like Yankos and Caps, even though Carlos is gone. You have options like Carzy, maybe potentially. Like, is Flakked better than Carzy? Like, I don't think I'd probably still take Carzy at this point. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know exactly what direction G2 is going to go, but I know that the spiciest one is them potentially going after Upset if Upset does want to leave Fnatic. Now, I have no idea if Fnatic would ever sell Upset to G2, especially after G2 wouldn't sell perks to Fnatic. But hey, Fnatic's tried to get G2 players before, and G2 has gotten Fnatic players before. They got Reckless, they got Caps. In a lot of ways, the meme has been that Fnatic is like a pipeline or an academy team for G2 or whatever. And I don't know if Upset is going to want to leave Fnatic, but it's possible. There are some rumors floating around that potentially Fnatic could have big changes coming into next year. And Fnatic and G2 could, of course, also go young and try and pick up like a random ERL AD carry or maybe even a random import or something like that as well. I'm not exactly sure, but to me, there doesn't seem to be like a clear replacement for Flakked at G2. Not that Flakked is like irreplaceable or anything, but like if G2 wants to be a team that's like competing for international titles, like you want a really, really good, really strong AD carry, and those are hard to come by. Those don't just grow on trees. It's not just easy to find those. So I will be very, very curious to see where they end up going. Like I said, especially under a new CEO running the ship, totally different potentially. Who knows how things are going to end up? But at least according to LEC Wooloo, from what I'm hearing, again, I've not not in this Discord. I didn't see these messages, but I have heard multiple different people talking about this, so I do, believe this to be accurate for the most part. At the very, very least, Wooloo is putting out like a soft rumor that Flakked could be out of G2, and at the most, Flakked just could be out of G2. I don't know. Pretty much every video today, guys. Hopefully I catch you in the next one. Peace.